Ready when you are.
All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Nordic Sound. As always, I am your host, Jameson Foster, ethnomusicologist and Nordic music specialist at the University of Colorado Boulder. And I am joined today once again by the man himself, Einar Selvik.
Pleasure to be here.
Oh, always a pleasure to have you, man. So it's almost a year to the day, just a month short, since the first time me and Einar sat down. Well, she stood up in front of an audience at CU Boulder to talk about Birna in anticipation of it. So that was in October, so no one had actually really listened to it yet. So it was mostly, talking in theory about the ideas behind the album. But we had the idea to sort of do a follow-up on the other end of Birna, as it were, to talk more in depth, maybe a little bit of retrospective on the album now that it's been out for the better half of a year. But all in due time. First and foremost, Einar, welcome back to Colorado. It's great to have you here.
Always great to be in Colorado. I have to say.
Have you ever gotten to spend much time up in the actual Rocky Mountain Park area?
No,
or?
only I've done a few smaller trips up there, so I have seen it and felt it, but not explored it. So maybe sometime.
Oh yeah, I mean September.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I know you don't have any time now, but September is the time of year to do it.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, the elk are rutting. So me and my wife go up there pretty much every weekend in September just to experience the elk. Yeah. But no, so before we get into Birna, something I wanted to sort of give you the opportunity to talk about, because I'm sure a lot of people want to hear your thoughts on it, is sort of reflecting a little bit on your experience at Fire in the Mountains.
Yeah.
Because that was a pretty special gathering, a pretty special event experience for for pretty much all who got to attend. And so, I'm sure plenty, myself included, would love to hear just sort of how has that been in your memory for the last few months?
Well, it's a I think for everyone who was there, it's an event that doesn't really leave you, in a sense. And I think a lot of us left the place changed in a way. For several reasons. Of course, these when you have for me, I find cultural meetings really fruitful, inspiring, life-changing potentially. And this was no difference, and to be welcomed onto their sacred land and to this really special, beautiful place, and feel so welcome. But also, that was a big thing. We truly felt welcome, and also it was moving to see like the festival participants as well. I don't know. It was so easy to see that everyone was walking around feeling more or less the same things.
Yeah.
There was no litter. Everyone was so respectful, and the whole no alcohol thing. I so wish more festivals would do that.
Yep.
It allowed us as artists also to enjoy the festival in a completely different way.
Yep.
Which is so rare. And at the same time, it's so brave for a festival to do something like that. To do something also in terms of the whole concept of the festival, the whole concept of the Firekeeper Alliance. It's a brave thing to move a festival to such a remote location.
Yep.
At the same time, that location is what makes it as well. That's what makes it worth that travel. I really hope that this year put the festival on the map and piqued people's curiosity. This is, in any case, I think these things, if you are put off by the no alcohol thing, then it's not the festival for you anyway. So I'm thinking it will attract the right people in due time anyway, if you just stay on that path. But yeah, no, it felt so good on many levels. Enjoying the nature, of course, enjoying the culture, but also seeing the native kids like really take part in the festival, in the music, and yeah, it felt like a really positive thing for the community.
Yep.
Which is what this is all about, in many ways. So that part, and of course also it was moving to see and meet the designer of. We made this Wardruna shirt.
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
was designed by a Blackfeet teenager in one of these schools. So and where all income from the sales
That was
went
I
to
was
the
not
firekeeper.
expecting the sheer amount of sales you guys did in that you were able to donate back. Yeah.
It was really, and of course we did a post about it, and so many people got in touch with us, wanting to, from all over the world, wanting to support.
Yep.
And that was really, really, really moving to see the whole Wardruna community gather around that cause.
Yep.
And to collect over $14,000.
Yeah,
for
it's
that
not
cause.
exactly pocket change.
No,
Yeah.
it's actually, it's such a good start, at least, to make change. So that was, that was something I'm really honored to be part of.
Yep.
So I hope to return to the festival. It's
it was even an honor to just witness it, just go as a participant. It was definitely stuck with you.
Still, I don't think it will ever leave.
Yeah, it would take a lot to make it leave. Right? So I don't know about you, but there was something we talked about actually last year that was still rattling around in my head during the whole festival, and that was the question of your role as an ambassador of kinds. I don't know if you've thought much about it since then, but I was wondering if, you seemed kind of like a reluctant ambassador. Like, you know that you are, but you'd rather just play the music and have that be the focus. But is it not even just with Fire in the Mountains, but also getting to play in places like the Odeon and Pompeii? You're sort of like traveling all over, still just sort of introducing people to Norwegian culture in a very particular way. And so I was wondering if you maybe had any further thoughts on how you are kind of like an ambassador of Norwegian culture in some way, especially at an event like Fire in the Mountains.
Well, of course, if you have to put a name on some of the parts of what we do, of course, that might fit, but it's not the focus in a way. But on the other hand, the importance of giving voice to the wild is something I feel really strongly about. But at the same time, do it in a way that, where you just give voice to something, and then that will speak on its own. That will, well, if it has a place, it will stand on its own 2 feet. That's at least what I think. And I think people are so much more receptive for change and new ideas if you realize it yourself, or if it's something you feel. We have to remember that it's not, you don't live your life through the head, You feel with your body, and then you calibrate and process in your head, but here is where you feel. And it's so easy to forget, and here is where we learn as well. So I think it's more efficient to just focus on focus on just doing what feels right, and giving voice to things that I personally feel have a place and feel of importance. And we're just on this journey, and some people are moved by that journey, I guess,
yeah.
and join us, us, and that's of course it's very humbling, but also humbling because we feel we are just part of something. Of course, we are part of creating things, creating opportunities, creating stages, and so on. But I think it's important to just keep the feet on the ground and actually, see things for what they actually are, and not put ego into it or anything like that. It's not what it's about.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if ego was a big part of making an album like Birna.
No, it's very, it's very unsexy, and in terms of commercial aspects, I should be singing about berserkers or Vikings or ships but
you've done your time with that. You've done your time with that,
Yeah, but I have, I have, and it has to come from a place that is real, and then. But yeah, Birna is for sure a more subtle themed album in a way. It kind of invites a lot for introspection and
very much so,
and philosophizing about is it about a bear, or is it about a human, or is it about Mother Earth, or is it all of the above? In many cases, it's go back and forth, and it can be all of the above.
Yeah, I was planning to actually talk about this closer to the end, but it's kind of already coming up because another topic we talked about was activism, right? Now, just for some perspective from me, I had already been listening to you guys for quite a while, but something about growl kind of changed the way that I saw you as an artist, where I was already pretty invested and immersed in the wolf controversy going on in Norway at this pretty much the same time that song came out, the video came out, and we even did talk about growl a little bit back at CU, but that's kind of why I've always seen some kind of activism at play in your art and in your music, and then especially with Birna being this more, I don't know if it's explicit or implicit, but there's more in Birna that is what you said, giving voice to the wild. Especially with this lamenting aspect of sort of that broken relationship with the bear, the same way that you sang about the broken relationship with the wolf. And so I kind of wanted to just give you an opportunity to maybe speak more about how you do or do not see your music as activism, and then maybe even more specifically, what role do you think music has to play in issues like this?
I think we already touched upon it. I think I truly believe that change is made through experience and emotionally bonding to something, like completely realizing a thing, understanding the balance between cost and value. If you don't understand that, there are so many other things in terms of our relation to nature that you won't get. Which is why I saw your review of the album, actually.
Oh, okay.
where you didn't really see how the last three songs, where are they in this whole? But they are actually the premise of understanding the first part.
Ah, okay.
So Lifjabang is all about understanding the value of the balance between cost and value.
Yep.
Which is paramount to understand why the bear is important to nature, or why nature itself, wild nature itself, is something we need. or of course you can apply it to many other things, whereas Skuggehesten is about dealing with your shit, basically. You know, daring to realizing that true light work is actually shadow work. And tretal is also about communicating. It is how nature speaks to you, through you, or your surroundings. How to connect, in a way. What language? What is the tongue of nature? How to tune in. So it is very deliberately there. But so even though it's outside of the sort of story arc of the bear, it is paramount for understanding the story arc. So that's why it's there. And in terms of activism, it's the same thing. I don't necessarily believe in like shouting and telling people what to do and not. I think you create more diversity, and that's more in the business of war. Of course, it has a purpose in terms of raising awareness, and but I am wondering if there are other ways that are more constructive. Often it's, you know, you have to be able to take both perspectives in order to. In terms of the wolf as well, you know, in Norway, it's the way the dialogue is now. It's not a dialogue because you have two camps that don't understand each other. You know, they don't want to acknowledge the activists. They don't want to acknowledge people's fear and ignorance, or miseducation in terms of what a wolf is and isn't, and how it behaves. And we're not used to it anymore. You know?
We're not used to cohabiting with predators.
You have one side who doesn't understand that side, and then you have the other side who don't see the fucking value of this. Why do I need to relate to this creature that is such an inconvenience to my life, and it makes me scared, etc. You know, so there has to be a different way because,
The same thing is going on in Colorado right now. I don't know if you stay up to. I assume I kind of had a feeling you'd be pretty up to date on that.
It's happening many places. Many places.
Right on the other side of Rocky Mountain.
The exact same discussions are so prominent many places.
And at least to me, I see music as a place where it sort of operates on a level of vulnerability. I don't know if others might disagree with that, but listening to music and experiencing art, I mean, like even just the art behind us, you know, a big part of just art history is how it does it doesn't really change minds by yelling at someone, but rather sort of creating that space where you can experience a different perspective, but within the safety of a finite piece of art.
It asks questions more. And if you think about those questions, then you might find your own opinion on something, which is often the case also, you know. People haven't really thought about it, like, so when you get perspectives or ideas or feelings, then there is possibility of change as well. And music has this profound ability to affect emotion, perhaps more so than any other art form. It is a powerful tool, for
Very
sure.
much so.
For sure. At the same time, it's very non-invasive. Because you have to do the work yourself. You have to feel it yourself. In a way.
That's a good point.
So, and I don't know. I prefer doing that, and I prefer. What I will never do is become like an internet warrior, you know, because I don't think it has an effect. I don't. It's because people. When you're in the same room, when you look into each other's eye, when you feed off each other's actual frequency, it's a different way of. You have to relate to it in a more constructive way, actually. So I believe more in those meetings whether it's through music or through discussion or lectures or I don't know. I think the internet is. It's not even the real world, so why should we treat it like it? You know, it's totally useless.
It's also very relevant right now.
Yeah.
I mean, especially because also music creates we're at the Pike's Peak Center, it creates a physical space for people to then meet around the music that might pose these questions. It gives people a reason to maybe ask those questions among friends or even strangers. Because there's a basic assumption that if we're all going to see the same band, we all have at least some common ground in some way. Yeah.
Of course, there will be common ground, for sure. I think so.
Yeah, awesome. So all the philosophical stuff, we've covered between our last talk and this one. So I kind of, for the time we have left, I love to sort of maybe talk about more specifics about Birna.
Yeah.
So instrumentation. We talked a little bit with mouths full of croissant back in October, sort of about the presence of the consola and the longaleg on the album, and even on my drive down here is a long drive. I kind of re-listened through most of your albums to sort of get a feel, and something I noticed is just that the longaleg, the consola, they've always been there, but in Birna, they're way more front and center than typical. And I know you told me a little bit about your reasoning behind that, and I would just love to hear more about, and I'm sure others love too, to hear more about why the consola and the longaleg got more of a position in the songwriting process and the overall soundscape of Birna.
Well, I think and it follows the same concept that's always been present in Wardruna, that it is the theme that should give direction or dictate the instrumental needs, the sounds, where to record, when to record, what state I should be in when I record. Anything and everything that puts you closer to the theme in question. And so when working with bears and then our closest neighbor towards the east, their lyre, which is, of course, we have in Norway as well, in certain parts of Norway, that Finno-Ugric Karelian tradition is prominent, especially Finnskogen area in Norway. So it just and their extremely close relation to the bear and to the kantele, it just made so much sense. But also, in terms of the sound it creates, where as a big portion of this is about the winter sleep and that that's the sound it has is so dreamy, and I would use it however it sounded, just because of its significance to these traditions surrounding the bear, of course, but the fact that it has that absolutely stunning, dreamlike sound that just made it a perfect fit, and it made it be in the front. If it wasn't, I would perhaps not have given it such a prominent place in the overall soundscape. But it is like in a way almost the main instrument of the album. In a sense,
I agree.
It's really in the heart of it, as is the that hibernating that song, Dvaledraumar, is of course the heart of the album in many ways. And Longeleg also, perhaps not necessarily because of any like conceptual relation, but that's more in terms of the sound it has, and it suits very well with the kantele as well. They have both that metallic, really crisp sound, and I don't know, that combination between, like in the song Birna, where there's quite a bit of Langelike, and it's a very heavy song. It's very, you know, it has this really heavy melancholic feel to it. At the same time, the dialogue in the song is very light, as a contrast, you know, this question answer sequence between a human and a bear. So I don't know, it just made such a good contrast, I would say, musically. So the themes and the creative concept of course gives me direction, but of course it's about a musical process here as well. You know what? Creating opposites, creating counterweights and friction is what it's also about when you compose. To make it interesting, to make it sort of move forward, to make you want to go like this when you hear it.
Oh yeah, very much so.
That's the power of you know, you can nerd all you want about polyrhythms and all of that, but to polyrhythms is something you find in every type of music, and it is the very stuff that makes you go like this, or makes you want to jump up and down, or like move. It is the If you would walk with both feet at the same time and both hands, you know, it is kind of the opposite of that. It is what pushes you back and creates that need to engage with the music. It's so powerful, and it's so universal and timeless. Of course, you know all about this, being a student of what you are a student of. And it's something that is present in all ethnic music from all over the planet.
I mean, a part of my degree was I had to take 3 world music. So I did gamelan, Japanese taiko, and because I don't get enough opportunity to play drums. I can't fit them in my apartment, but I love drumming, never get to do it. And then I was also an assistant to the West African drumming class for 3 semesters, and that's just nothing but polyrhythms and just, I know that feeling of, you know, we're all playing the panlogo and all the other instruments, and when you get a whole circle of students with all these different experiences or lack of experiences in music, but you all lock into those it just doesn't, you don't want it to stop.
No.
It's
so empowering.
And, when the leader actually does his signaling that it's time to stop, we're all sort of like, no, not yet. And you know, that sort of leads me to, if we have time, I don't know what the...
It's fine.
All right, cool. Awesome. I didn't want to overstay my welcome on the concert day. So I was actually talking to quite a few friends about this, and something that I overlooked in the initial album review, and that I always overlook because you are so much of just Wardruna, is I forget your origins as a drummer. And so many of my friends were like, do you think that maybe the fact that he's a drummer first is what changes the way that he goes into composition compared to string players, for instance? Because, you know, drummers, and I just talked about this with a folk musician in my last interview, is that percussionists have a whole different way that they tend to look at music compared to the melodic or harmonic way that other musicians can. So I guess, like, do you think that just your perspective as a drummer and a percussionist and someone who primarily works with rhythm sort of affects the way that you do compose at large for Wardruna? Because ever since my friends brought that up, I'm always saying, like, no, this is a rhythm that the song then, like, sort of builds around. I don't know what you have to say about that. Yeah.
Of course, of course it would be strange if it didn't affect.
Just completely shed that skin.
And of course, since I create a lot of the stuff when I'm out walking, it's rhythms. It's and that's, you know, the curse of a drummer is that you always hear rhythm in your head in different forms but also in terms of polyrhythms, you know, it's not only about the beats that sometimes it can be the flute melody or the song melody that creates the polyrhythm. How you accent everything, and I guess that I can do that with. I think I can do that consciously easier than people who aren't that into rhythms and have that like natural need to create these counter movements, because that's what it's about, creating counter movements that ultimately makes you want to move or engage, whether it's internally or physically.
Oh yeah, especially the way you use those compound rhythms like 5 or 7. I mean, just the way that
5 is a circle. 5 is a circle. 4 is not a circle. 5 is a circle. Even though it sounds odd, but it is. It's how it feels. It wants to move.
Even right now, I'm kind of like.
No, but I love those, and of course, since the album was conceptually so circular as well, so cyclic. There's a lot of 5 beats there. 5, even 9. So of course, it's a big part. It's a big part of how I compose. How I think music is very much originated from a rhythmical perspective.
Awesome. Simple question about Shuga Heston. What is that string instrument? The very deep one. Is that a toggle harpa? Because that is a toggle harpa.
It is a rebuilt sotharpa.
Because we've been trying to, me and my friends really dork out about the instrumentation and stuff. We're listening to it, we're like, what? Is that an organistrum? Like
no.
just sawing away? Or okay.
It's a Rauno Nieminen who made me a quite big version of the.
It has to be huge.
Of the sotharpa, where I can play all strings. Yes.
Cool.
So it's a toggle harpa.
And then just last question, just broadly about Birna is, you had a few guest musicians on. Jona Jinton and then Kenneth Lien. He's just one of my favorite people. And so I was just wondering if sort of a part of bringing on guest musicians is, Wardruna's been around for a while, and eventually other musicians are going to have to sort of pick up the torch, right? As much as we would love to, you can't just play music for eternity, right? And something that was in my mind was that as more guest musicians show up, is maybe sort of like taking on a role of letting other musicians sort of interact or giving them the opportunity to play or develop. And I was wondering if that was a part of it, or...
Well, I would rather say that comes as a bonus.
Okay. Of course. It's not just charity work, right? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Nobody... No, it's a necessity. I wanted... I felt I wanted to have Kenneth's play. He has a very, very, very rhythmical way of playing the jaw harp, which I really felt fitted that song. And I'm a fan of his work, and we started talking, and I invited him to if he wanted to join on that song, and thankfully he did, and also in also in terms of the sallow flute, overtone flute with Hans Fredrik Jacobsen, which is in Norwegian traditional music, he's a legend. And the only person, because I wanted, you can buy a tube with birch bark around it, or just a wooden overtone flute, but I wanted like a real one with the bark of the sallow tree. And he's the guy. He has a freezer full of them, because
he freezes them. That's genius.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So he because he does this, he's he's the go-to man.
Yeah, I've been thinking about
when
that
it comes.
because that instrument has
It lived.
an expiration date. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like, when
it's a day, maybe two.
Yeah.
And then it's gone.
he puts them in the freezer.
And you can only play them during that small time window during the spring. So of course, for the waking of the bear, I wanted that sound. And he was the man to do it. So I would say it's first and foremost out of a necessity when people are invited into it. No charity work involved. No, art comes first, always. And same with Jonna. Her contribution. She has been working so much with a sound that I've been chasing and failed miserably for 20 years now.
Did you try singing it? Is that
No, try the ice sound.
Okay. Yes. I had an image of you trying to yell.
Kulning. No, that's for.
I had an image of you in the dress out in the field trying to call to the cows.
Yeah. Good one.
Good representation.
No, so we decided early that we wanted to collaborate, and then when pieces started to come together, it became clear that this was the song. So then we started working, and she's a really good performer of Kulning as well, or lock song. So I don't know. Yeah, it was such a nice process to work with, and she's such a such an amazing voice to a lot of tradition, to nature, and she works with a lot of these things, and so. It's a thing we've been talking about for many years, and now was the right occasion for it. It sort of just fell into place. So
awesome. Do we have time for one more?
We can do one.
One more question? Yeah. Cool. So I love getting to sort of do that retrospective on Birna because it was an exercise in tightrope walking, like talking about the album publicly before it had come out. And so you know what I mean? So now that it's out, it was just nice to be able to ask you these more specific questions.
I understand.
What does downtime look like for you between albums or after albums? Is there downtime? I'm just curious, like looking forward, like what happens after an album? Or is it just tour until you fall over?
Yeah, for me now, after the album, that was it is a very, I don't know how other people do it, but for me it's a very demanding process.
Yep.
And so at this point, I just have a need to not have 1,000 other projects going on, or focus on doing this in a healthy way. You know, being present. Because touring, that's demanding as it is in a different way. Also rewarding, of course, but it is something that if you're going to do it healthy, it's good to just have time for that. And then I'm a family man, and so whatever downtime I have is family time and awesome. Nature and dog, and you know.
God, I love that pup. I love that pup so much. His biggest smile on my face when you post about him. I lost my golden retriever a few years ago, and it was a couple. Yeah. It was very soon after that you posted a picture with him. I was like, that's what I needed.
Yeah, they are good to us humans.
Yeah, as much as I love my parrot, I do miss having a dog around.
Yeah. So but the downtime is just trying to be present and not chase too much. There has been some years where I've had a lot of like back-to-back huge projects that I've been part of, and there is a time for everything. And now I really feel the time to just focus on this now that I'm on tour, and whatever comes after. There are many things I want to do, but and will do in due time.
Yeah.
But I'm not chasing anything. I'm trying to just enjoy and be present in, here and now.
And that's a good lesson to learn, and I'm sure plenty of people are happy to know that you are carrying on with your health first and foremost, because the last thing we want to see is Einar burn out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same.
Especially your tour manager. You know, he's sort of like last thing I want. But Einar,
yes.
Thank you so much for making the time before you go on tonight. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, of course, came all the way down here nice and early in the morning. Centered myself before the conversation, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, man, for coming on. Thank you for talking more about the album. Good luck tonight. See you next time, yeah?
Yeah, until the next time.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for watching.
Yes.